Now, is there a better time to crochet than silly fall weather? Just like we have it here, rain all day. For me, this just calls for a funny yet silly idea. So not to fall into fall depression or getting the fall blues, I want to crochet something funny and silly. And since I still have a bit of leftover yarn from my chunky pumpkins, I have a silly yet funny idea. And just like that, the rain has stopped, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make such a cute and of course super silly pumpkin head. But of course, what would life be without having silly ideas just like this? So here we go. So here we go. Here's my orange yarn, and I will do the exact same thing like I did with the pumpkins. And first I'm going to triple the yarn. So here we go, the yarn is tripled. Make a slip knot first, and here's the hook. I'm even going to use a bigger hook. All the supplies are of course linked in the description. And now what I'm going to do is to make an I-cord of, I don't know, 30. For the pumpkins, I think it was 20. Now I'm doing 30, just to be sure that it fits on my head. So make sure to only make it as big as you have to have it for your head. And I'm going with the 30 and start as always with my I-cord. "30 stitches. Luckily, I measured it right. And now again, I'm turning my work. And for this beanie style pumpkin head, whatever, I will always have single crochets on this side where I have my yarn end here, and then half double crochets all along, always in the back loops except for our first round. So I'm going in there into or below under both of the loops. Gosh. And make a single crochet and then a half double crochet. Now with such a big crochet hook, it's a 10 millimeter. Of course, it gets a bit harder to go through the stitches, but I promise it will get easier once you have the first round. And again, here I go, triple up that yarn by pulling it through the loop. And we can continue. And here we go. The first round is done, and I really hope now it should get easier, because now we are only going to work in the back loops only. So now to continue, we simply chain one, then yarn over, and then we go into the back loop and make our first half double crochet, and then we go all along until we reach that very last stitch where in the previous round we made our single crochet, and here we are then also going to place a single crochet in there. And here we go, the last stitch, again only in the back loop, and we just make a single crochet in there, and then we are good to turn. And the first stitch, of course, a single crochet in the back loop, and then we continue with the half double crochets all along. And this is basically it until you reach the part where your piece would then go around your head. And then we continue by finishing the orange and continuing with the green part. So see you then. So here's where I am. I made the size so that it would fit around my head like this. And now we can finish the orange part by sewing those two parts here together. So we close our beanie, and for that I'm going to leave a longer tail and cut the yarn, and then I'm going to just make a slip stitch to close it, and we are good to go. So take your yarn needle and bring the tripled yarn on it like that, and now we are going to sew the two parts together in a super simple way, just going around from the top to the bottom, and pulling everything together. And when you reach the last one, make sure to leave a little loop here and just pull it through, so we can sort of like create a little knot right here. And then I'm going to turn and sew it in somewhere. Just a few stitches. Going one way and going back the other way. Make sure also to stab some of the previous yarn strands here and there, because that will also help to keep the yarn in place. And once you have it, you can then cut the orange yarn. because now, I mean, later on I'm going to fold this over. And we are good to go. So whenever you have, like, here I had to connect the yarn, we can now cut it. If there are things, here's like a little bit left from my starting yarn. I'm just going to leave this because we can then incorporate it in the next step. Because now we can continue with the green. So I'm just going to triple it very easily. You don't have to make like a big part of it, just a little bit, and then make a slip knot so we can start. And here's our loop, so later we can just pull the yarn through that loop. And now what we are going to do is basically to make single crochets in between those bumps that we had here, just to put everything more together. And the way how we do this is by going into one of those sidebars here. You can even place it a little bit lower, somewhere down here. And then first, let's just make a single crochet to connect the green yarn to our orange piece. And then we make single crochets all along, always skipping this bumpy part here, and go directly into the next space. This should help to create the shape even more. And let's see what I'm going to do with this part here. I'm just trying to incorporate it, just like the green yarn end. Now I'm pulling it over, and didn't work. I'm just putting it to the back. And we go all along. So here's how it looks in the top. So we made so we pushed everything more to the inside. And now we are just continue. And now we just continue by decreasing. So let's just say we decrease every third stitch. So the first one here, we make just another single crochet, and then here's the second, and then here's the second, and then we go directly into the third one, and decrease it, and then in the next one a regular single crochet, and then we start as if we would make a single crochet, then go into the next stitch. Now you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 of them to decrease it even further. Then 1 single crochet, and then the next decrease like this, then a single crochet, And don't forget to pull your yarn through as soon as you feel that loop coming. And we make the next decrease. And then another single crochet. And the next decrease. And a single crochet. And one last decrease. And here we go. We decreased it further. Like this. Hope you can see it. And it really does give this impression of a pumpkin. So now what I'm going to do is to just go along. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. I don't even know why I have 11. Maybe I did something wrong. Let's just go and make a single crochet. And then we make one more decrease. And another single. And another decrease. And I think after that, this should be enough. Because now what we are going to do is to basically go up to create that green top, that peak. And we will do this by just going up. So we are not decreasing or increasing. Here we had single crochet. Now I'm making a half double crochet. And from there I'm going to make a double crochet. And from this moment on, it's just double crochets going along. Just to give us this height. And once you feel like you have the height that you want to have, in my case I think it's enough, I'm just going back by making a half double crochet first, and then a single crochet in the next stitch. And then I'm also going to make a slip stitch just to flatten it out a little bit, because now I want to make I want to close it basically, because it looks a bit weird up here. So what I'm going to do is to make decreases. I'm going to decrease always 2 stitches together, and I will also do this only in the back loops. So I'm taking my yarn in the back loop under the next 2 stitches, and then just make single crochets to close them, and then the next 2 together like that. on both of the loops, and then the next two. Where is it? Now it gets a bit fiddly to get all the loops. And I think there should only be two left after that. Like that. And now I'm going to cut my yarn, because this now gets a bit too fiddly, and I'm slip stitching through it, taking my yarn needle to close the last gap in the top. By just pulling the yarn through. Where's the gap? Here it is. So I'm just going to pull that through and closing it. And once I have it, I will just go through and also make a knot, and then pull everything to the inside, because now you get like this part here. Once again, I know exactly what you're thinking. And don't worry, I'm thinking the same thing. But let's just hide that yarn somewhere on the inside. You don't have to make it that accurately, because this part no one will ever see. And I think that should be it. And cut the yarn. And here I also have some left over from the beginning round. Let's just sew that in quickly into some of the stitches. And let's go up here. And we can basically just leave it there. I mean, this part will not be visible for the world to see. And now we can take this, and you can of course press it in. It's quite surprising. This top part really looks so much like a pumpkin. But it does. Sometimes silly ideas can work perfectly, and my silly pumpkin head is done, just like that. And now it's time to try it on. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed making this super fun and super silly pumpkin head with me. And I hope to see you back again next time, only at the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. Bye!